Long ago, long, long ago, it was known that connecting the three worlds of the underworld, this middle world of men and women and giants, and the upper world of the gods, was a great tree. And this was a yew tree. Now, one day, Odin, the All-Father, was sat in Asgard, the heavens, and his two ravens that were his eyes and ears on the realms of men and giants, they were coming back to him with bad tidings. Trouble was brewing down on earth, the rumblings of war, ill omen. Odin knew that hardship was coming long in the future, and he needed knowledge, power, and wisdom to give the gods the best possible chance in the battles and wars to come. So Odin did this. He took off his winged helmet, his golden armor, his great spear he laid down, and he wandered over the rainbow bridge down to earth as Woden the Wanderer. He wore a grey cloak around him, a wide-brimmed hat. He had a long beard, and he carried an old staff, so that he appeared to humans just like an old wandering man. And for a long time he wandered across Midgard, across the realms of men, and he was often taken into little homesteads or farms. That's why these days it's always important to show hospitality to strangers, just in case they're a god in disguise. Now, for a long time Odin wandered, and eventually he came to a great river. This is the river that separates the realm of men from the realm of the ice giants. Huge river, as wide as a sea. You can barely see across it. Great chunks of ice floating in it in the far, far north. Well, Odin, he waded across this river. Now, when Odin reached the realm of giants, he appeared just as a giant. Just as in the realm of men, he appeared just like a man. And Odin met many of the giants, and many were very, very kind to him. Odin had a certain way with strangers. Now, one day, Odin was wandering along these frozen wastes of the realm of the giants when he came across a huge giant riding a giant red stag with big antlers. And this giant was very old. He had a long silver beard that trailed behind him as he rode across the tundra. This giant dismounted when he saw this wanderer, and they had conversation. And Odin said he was on his way to look for Mimir's well, the well of memory. And the giant said, ho, 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 ho. Well, let's play a little game. I will ask you 3 questions, and if you can't answer any of them, I will cut off your head. If you can answer them, I will tell you the way to Mimir's well, where you are looking for. Odin said, very well, and this giant asked him, first of all, what is the name of the river that separates the realm of gods, of giants and men? Odin told him, and the giant thought, very strange. Only the wisest of the giants know that. But it's not completely unreasonable that this giant might know the name of the river that separates the realm of giants and men. So he asked his next question, what is the name of the serpent that rings around the great cosmic sea surrounding all the world? And Odin knew the name, and the giant thought this was very, very strange indeed. I am the only giant that knows this. There is something about this wanderer, this stranger, that is not what it seems. And he asked his third and final question, what is the name of the plain where at the end of time the great battle will be fought between gods and giants? And it is 100 miles wide and 100 miles long, and Odin told him the name of that place. And at this point, the giant was really starting to suspect something, and Odin said, it is now my turn. What were the last words that Odin, the All-Father, told to his son, Balder the Light? And the giant said, only Odin would know that. Greetings, Odin, All-Father, said the giant. Well, I've won the competition, said Odin. Your head, or tell me the way to Mimir's well. Well, let me keep my head, Odin All-Father, said this giant. I will tell you the way to Mimir's well. That way. over the mountains, over the snow-capped mountains, to the very centre of the world, you will find the roots of the world tree, Yggdrasil. And there are many, many, many doors leading down beneath the roots. You must take this door and lead down, down, down into the underworld. There you will find Mimir, whose name means the rememberer, and his well. And in that well is contained all knowledge. But beware, Odin, All-Father, the price for that knowledge is extremely high. Duly noted, said Odin, and he thanked the giant and went on his way, further than he had ever been, through blizzards, over mountains, through wastelands, until he reached the very centre, the axis mundi of the entire cosmos, the whole 9 worlds, this vast yew tree, Yggdrasil, as old, older than time itself. The whole fabric of the cosmos hangs on its roots and branches, and there he found the right doorway between the roots into the centre, and went down, down, down into the root, into the darkness, and there, sure enough, was an old man or god or giant. No one knows what or who Mimir is, but his name means memory itself, and he guarded the well, and he said, "Greetings, Odin, All-Father. I knew you were coming this day, obviously, because Mimir drinks every day from that well of all knowledge, that cauldron of knowledge." And Odin says, "I would have a draught from your well of knowledge, Mimir." And Mimir said, "The price is your eye." And without hesitation, without any hesitation at all, Odin plucked out his own eye, threw it into the inky depths of that well, and it rippled out, and his eye just sank down into the darkness, looking up. And who knows where that eye is now? And Mimir nodded and gave Odin a drink from that well, and Odin drank, and his mind expanded. He saw everything. He saw all the sorrows of mankind. He saw the great beginning way back before he even existed, way back in the yawning gap of time. He saw how the end of days would be. He saw the great battle of gods and men and giants. He saw the great wolf Fenrir swallowing up the sun at the end of days. He saw the new beginnings. He saw everything. And he saw that his own knowledge, his own power, his own wisdom was not enough. He needed more. He needed to travel down, deeper down into the very root of time, the very darkness of the underworld, beyond the well of Mimir to the well of Urd. And this one was guarded by 3 women, 3 strange beings, 3 Norns. One was old and older than the old. One was young, and one was concealed in darkness. And these are the 3 fates that decide the length of life and the passage of fate for every being, whether they are a god or a giant or a dwarf or a man or a woman, everything. They decide everything, and they write it in the runes at the root of the world tree, and they travel up that great yew tree to all the cosmos, and everything is as they inscribe it with these runes of power. And Odin knew that he needed the power of those runes if he was to have any chance of defeating the giants at the end of time. So Odin travelled further down to the well of Urd, where all the roots of the world tree Yggdrasil converge in this great deep well of all wisdom and power, where everything wells up from. And the 3 Norns, they of course knew he was coming and said, "Welcome, Odin, All-Father. You want the runes of power? Well, the price, the sacrifice is this. You must sacrifice yourself by killing yourself with your own spear and hanging yourself for 9 days on the branches of the world tree. You must sacrifice yourself to Odin, the All-Father." Yeah, Odin had to sacrifice himself to himself for knowledge, and he did it. He strung himself up on the branches of the great yew tree, and he stabbed himself with his own spear and cast it down, and he forbade any god or mortal to give him any drink or any help whatsoever. And for 9 days and 9 nights he hung on the edge of death. In fact, he did die. He did die. And then on the 9th night he gazed down, and he saw coming up from the surface of the well of Urd the runes, all of the runes which contain all of the magical power in the entire cosmos. And then he screamed and fell back from that place, but he had the runes of power in his hand. So, that is the story of how Odin sacrificed himself to himself for knowledge, and the perfect story to illustrate how the yew tree symbolizes the journey into the underworld and back again, returning with knowledge.